Tips to help you design your Lumenesk system. Drivers. All Lumenesk drivers are SAA approved and designed for use in Australia. They output 12 volts DC and are IP66 rated, which basically means that they're waterproof and can handle being used in full weather. The basic rule of thumb when choosing the right driver is to ensure you never overload the driver. This means you need to look at the total power draw of all the items on the system and make sure this doesn't exceed the driver's total wattage. For example, all of the garden lights, bollard lights and in-ground lights use a 5 watt LED globe, which means the 30 watt driver can take up to 6 lights, the 60 watt driver can take up to 12 lights, and the 100 watt driver can take up to 20 lights. Please note that the 100 watt driver will come with 2 outputs, so try to split the load over the 2 outputs. If you're mixing garden lights, deck lights, fairy lights and wall art, then you need to look at the wattage that each item will draw and add those together, making sure that you stay within the total load of the driver. The Lumenesk driver can sit on the ground near the power outlet. It will be plugged in, but it's best to mount it on the wall if there's a chance of the driver sitting in a puddle of water during times of heavy rain. If you need to hide the driver by burying it under the ground, then Lumenesk suggests placing the driver on a paving brick and placing the solenoid retic box over the driver to offer some form of protection from the soil after being buried. If buried in direct sand, then Lumenesk cannot guarantee how long the driver will last in this type of installation. Cables. All Lumenesk cables are designed to be used outdoors in any conditions with any of the products in the Lumenesk range. Here are a couple of tips to help you plan your garden lighting system. Our cables are rated at 100 watts total power, so they can be used with all our drivers. They come with an IP67 rated waterproof connector, which means it's one step below submersible, so your connections won't leak. When connecting the cables, position them together and rotate them until you find the locating in a line. The cables are polarity sensitive, which means the cables can only be connected one way. Once the pins are aligned, push the connectors hard together and then tighten the outside locking nut. Some connections might seem a little hard to push together, but this means it's just a watertight fit and a good electrical connection. Our cables are all double insulated, which means that there are 2 separate layers of insulation. This helps it last in the ground and in the full sun. Corrosion of the wire needs to occur through the 2 layers before the internal wire is compromised. However, in saying that, our sun is quite tough and a wire left to bake in the sun each summer will eventually deteriorate. For the best results, try to hide the cable under the soil or under mulch. If mounted along a pergola post, then mount the cable on the side of the beam rather than the top to offer some form of protection. One other thing to consider in regards to the cable is voltage drop. Voltage drop occurs when a cable is very long. The power at the start of the cable near the driver is 12 volts DC. However, over a run of about 40 meters, that voltage will drop slowly as the cable gets longer, which means the lights will not burn at their brightest. We've tested our cables and the system suits cable lengths of up to 40 meters, which suits most suburban backyards. However, over this length, you can expect lights to lose brightness.